As the saying goes, everybody has a story. That holds true for our next guest, photo artist Eli Vega. Eli helps us celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with an inside look at his life and his book, and it's so nice to have you here.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
I think we need to start with your story first. Tell me a little bit about where you were born, Eli.
Well, believe it or not, I was born in a railroad boxcar.
Whoa!
My parents were migrant parents, and they traveled between Texas and Wyoming. So the word was out that there were jobs in Wyoming, unskilled labor, because my parents were very illiterate in English, uneducated. So they were working up in Wyoming at the time. And my father was working in the sugar beets with ranchers and the railroads.
Right.
And the railroad companies, what they did for their labor help is that they converted boxcars into living quarters.
How interesting is that?
So that's
wow.
where my parents lived.
My goodness. But now you're living here in Colorado.
Yes.
Tell me how you discovered the love for art.
I was in the second grade. In the second grade, I was already drawing cardinals and blue jays, and painting them.
How beautiful.
So it didn't take too long before my teachers realized this kid has an art skill for talent and for art. So that's when I first discovered it. It wasn't until I got to college that I really realized, ooh, this is fun.
Yeah, it's something that you love. And what was it that kind of first grabbed your attention for your love for art?
Well, the fact that we could interpret life, in our own voice, so to speak, whether that was creativity, whether that was through surrealism or impressionism or pointillism, so many ways of interpreting life.
And you selected photography, and you bought your first camera, you said, when you were in college?
No, actually, it was after college.
It was after college.
Yeah, after college.
My goodness, you have some beautiful photos. This book is Right Brain Photography, Be an Artist First. What are some of your favorite things to photograph? Do you like people or do you like nature?
Well, if you had asked me about 10 or 15 years ago, I would have said I'm a landscape nature photographer. But, there's been some metamorphosis in my creativity, and now I say I'm a life photographer, because I can find art in almost anything.
Oh, how interesting is that? Yeah, and the name of your book, the title, I think is so interesting. It's called Right Brain Photography, Be an Artist First. What made you decide to write that, and what is right brain photography? Okay,
first, what inspired me to write it? I came up with the idea of right brain photography, a class for it, in 2011, and I proposed it to Arapahoe Community College.
Okay.
Continuing ed department. So I proposed, gave them a proposal, and I said, would you like the idea of me teaching right brain photography? Of course, they didn't know what it was, and I told them, and I said, I think it would work, so let's try it. So we did, and I got such good feedback from it, positive feedback, that it inspired me to go one step further. And then I approached the Rocky Mountain Conservancy in Estes Park, and I said, would you be interested in me offering a 3-day right brain photography workshop out in the field in Rocky Mountain? They said, "Ooh, sounds good, let's try it." So we did, and again, I got some positive feedback.
Good.
And then I did a Garden of the Gods.
So you've been all over the place. So you knew this was a hit, and you had to put it in a book. Let's look at some of your work here. And as we look at, gosh, that's just so gorgeous. I think you really need to explain a little bit more about what is right brain photography.
Okay, well, right brain photography, I have 4 points to answer that. First is, right brain photography means being an artist first, using your camera, its features, and lenses as your paintbrushes. It means, number 2, to be able to see with your imagination and not your eyes. Not just your eyes, to see with your imagination. And point 3, in terms of what it is to be able to see something before you see it. And some students have a hard time with that, but I can see something before I see it. And I'm going to share a little
That's
bit.
what I would, this is just astonishing. This piece right here, you saw this before you can see it? We have about a minute left. So this is I Heroes of the Alamo. Tell me how you did this.
I wanted a picture of the heroes coming back from the dead and walking through the walls of the Alamo. So I asked myself, how can I do this? So I created a double exposure in camera of both the Alamo and a relief sculpture that was a block away.
Let's look at the inspiration behind New Orleans and tell me what it was. How did this inspire you?
What inspired me was I was in New Orleans for about 2 hours photographing, and after 2 hours I came to the conclusion that I wasn't really photographing the gist, the essence of New Orleans. I was just taking pictures. And then it occurred to me to take somebody's piece of art, painted on shale, and I asked her, can I take a picture of your art? She said, yeah, sure. And then I walked across the street and took a picture of this guy standing there, and I superimposed both of them.
There you go. It's that imagination, that right brain working. Thank you so much, Eli.
Sure.
So interesting. You can learn more. Just visit elivega.net. That's elivega.net. His book is on sale at Tattered Cover, Lakewood's Book Bar, the Boulder Bookstore, Poor Richard's in Colorado Springs. He's all over the place. And soon at the Garden of the Gods Visitors Center gift shop in Colorado Springs. This photograph actually made the cover of Eli's book titled Gods at Night. Isn't that beautiful?